And the business owner is still doing the majority of the estimating. Like I was up till 3:00 in the morning last night.
Estimating can be like green peppers on your pizza.
We're losing a lot of money, or we're not winning many bids, and we lose money that way. Not
Right.
able to bid on enough work to keep our shop full and to keep it busy all year long. We have slow times. Let people go, and that's always super painful.
My name's Dominic Rubino. Welcome to the Cabinet Maker Profit System podcast. Hey, today we're going to be talking to Ben Hudachek about estimating, the inside track on estimating, because that's all Ben does. You might as well get advice from the experts. Now, in the episode, we're going to be covering off a lot of cool things, a lot of cool things. And I know that Ben and I are going to be focusing our conversation on how you can be more efficient on estimating the right jobs profitably. Sound interesting? I hope it does. Well, stay tuned to this episode. And by the way, I know that we're going to be talking about a couple of tools. One of them is the bid yes, no checklist. Another one is the estimating SOP. And the third thing is the go back calculator. This is a juicy episode with a lot of business tools in it. So stay tuned. You're going to learn a lot. And Ben is a great guest. So we'll see you on the other side. Ben Hudachek, good to have you back.
Hey, Dom, it's good to be on.
Yeah. You and I have had juicy conversations about the most exciting of all topics in cabinetry and millwork.
Exactly. Estimating. Estimating. There's people out there that are either dropping their heads or gripping the steering wheel just a little tighter. My 6-year-old this morning, he's like, "What are you doing today, Daddy?" And I was like, "Well, actually, I'm going to be on a podcast." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh, work, estimating." He's like, "Oh, so it wouldn't be fun for me." I was like, "Probably not, but you know how to count, right?" He's like, "Yeah." "And you know how to count pieces of wood, right?" "Yeah, that's basically what I do all day."
Daddy counts pieces of wood all day? Yeah. That's a good way to explain it. Try to keep it as simple enough to explain to, well, how old is he?
7.
Oh, okay. I almost said toddler, so he would not like that.
Not that young.
Why don't you take a second and say hi to him in case he's listening?
Yeah. "Hey, buddy."
Dad's famous.
Yeah.
Famous with cabinet makers and millworkers all around the world.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, let me do this because some people might not know who you are. So I'm going to ask what sounds like a very abrupt question, but we ask it all the time. You ready?
Ready.
Ben Hudachek, who the heck are you? And how is it that you come to be speaking to all these forward-facing cabinet makers, millworkers all around the world?
Who am I, huh? Yeah, well, first, I'm a husband and father, got an amazing family, and they are my pride and joy, and I absolutely love them with all my heart.
Love
And
it.
secondary, I'm a woodworker at heart. I have been woodworking as far back as I can remember. I remember kind of finding some old tools that my great-grandfather had
Really?
given to my dad and left in our basement, and I kind of found them and started carving on some wood, and I have not stopped since. So
Wow.
I've been in all industries, so I've done a lot of like custom furniture, really a lot of traditional hand tools and that kind of work, and then also got into residential install, and then eventually made my way into the commercial millwork space, working, starting off as a lead fabricator for a large company in Louisiana, and then ended up kind of working my way up to being an estimator. That opportunity came open, and then started running their estimating department, grew their estimating department, and have been in estimating ever since. So I back in 2021, actually 2020, excuse me, I decided, I just realized I didn't have many resources when I was trying to learn estimating. I was just kind of fend for yourself.
It's very common. Yeah.
Dropped in there, like, here you go, have at it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of figured a lot of stuff out on my own and learned a lot. And but I was like, gosh, we should have resources for this. And so I wanted to do something about it. So I started BH Estimating. We focus exclusively on millwork estimating and offering resources, training, and all things millwork estimating. And so I've been doing that ever since. Get to work with some amazing people, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah. I could see it in your face that you like it. That's good. That's good. So today that's what we're going to talk about. And I want everybody on the show to know we went and looked for you. And the reason we looked for you is because of the feedback that we get from our clients and the people we talk to. Estimating seems to be something that doesn't evolve much inside a company. You know what I mean? Like, you learn it, you either make it up on your own as you go along. And along with that, what I hear, and maybe you do, is there's not a lot of confidence behind it. Like people
Yeah.
don't say, we've got the best estimating system ever. They say, yeah, I estimate and we hope we do well. But there's
Yeah.
no like, I don't want to get fancy, but like scientific rigor. There's no
Yeah.
SOP or system that says we estimate and we know we've got a, rock solid system.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Right. Or they've come from another company and they've said, I can do it better. And they change one or two things, but then they don't evolve that very much.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So those 2 pain points are do you hear the same things?
I do. Yeah. The exact same things. I think you're right. Like estimating of all the departments, it's one that's slower to evolve in a company. It's definitely typically behind the times. And so I feel like we kind of go to one extreme or the other, right? We're either like way behind the times and just really doing it the way we've been doing it for 20 years and we're afraid to change it. Or we kind of lean on like technology, right? And just technology is the solution. It will solve everything.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of those extremes is the solution. I mean, it's understandable, right? Like estimating is really the heart of a business. Now, it's not the whole of a business, but it's the starting place. It's where success on a project starts, is with the estimate.
All right.
Now, it requires the entire team all the way through to install and everything, but
Yeah.
it starts right there in estimating. And so if something is working, like, why do you want to change it? You know what I mean?
Right.
If it's gotten by so far. But yeah, I run into a lot of people who have just outgrown their current system.
Yeah.
And not even I'm not talking specifically in estimating software necessarily, but their system, their way of working. It's gotten them so far, but now it's restricting them, right? If they're really trying to grow and they're really trying to scale their business, something's got to change. So
something has to change.
Definitely.
Yeah. One of the things that my coaches and I hear and recognize with our clients is that mistakes made in estimating echo throughout everything in the process.
Yeah.
And then the less formal way to say that is estimating can be like green peppers on your pizza. Right? You're just introducing gas and indigestion into the system, which is why we don't order it on our pizza. But, honestly, a mistake made in estimating, you're just chasing that clerical error.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to say it. You're just chasing a clerical error all the way through the process. And that gets frustrating.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's understandable. Like it is such an important part of the business. Like it's completely understandable. If let's say there's a business owner who's done the estimating themselves for all these years, and they've clearly created a successful company, like they've made it this far. So they're doing something right. They're doing a lot right.
Yeah. They're doing a lot right. Yeah.
And they've been doing estimating, like it's completely understandable. It's really hard to hand that over. Really hard. I know, like myself personally, when I worked in the estimating department, like and started to get estimators under me, it's really hard to hand it off. That trust is really hard. And then now even in my own business, when I first started, we do a lot of estimates for companies and I was doing all the estimating, right? I was the estimator. And eventually I kind of built up a system where I had some assistants, but essentially it was still me for a while. And I finally have gotten to a point where I don't do all the estimates. I still pitch in when needed, but I have been able to go from being anxious and stressed out. Like I know the feeling of anxiety when you're about to click send on that estimate and those questions run through your mind. Did I catch this? Did I update that pricing? Do I have everything? And then you click send and still a lot of stress and anxiety. And I can say that I've gotten to a point where I can click send with confidence now. Like I really can. And we've worked with a lot of clients and have gotten them to that point as well. And so go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say you probably have a couple of 100 conversations a year with mill workers, cabinet makers. This is going to be a rough start, but in general, what are the challenges that and you can even tell me a story if you like, but what are generally the challenges that you hear from these owners? Let's start with identifying the problem.
Yeah, for sure. I can give one specific example. There's a company we've been doing a lot of work with over the years up in the New England area in the US. They got a great company, family-owned business. They had a number of estimators that were doing all their estimating for years. I don't know how long, probably 20 some years.
Okay. Long time.
Then, eventually retired, right? So they're left without an estimator. They had kind of an older estimating system, great system, but kind of older, outdated. So it was really hard to find someone who knew how to use it or was willing to learn how to use it. And so, they were kind of stuck, It was like, Ben, like, is there something you can do? And so yeah, what I did was they ended up hiring somebody, and we took them through training, just general estimating practice in general, because this individual didn't have much experience with estimating, period.
Yeah.
And then train them specifically in that estimating software. And then we were able to kind of package it up so that they were able to bring on not only this estimator, but additional estimators over the years. And they had these training resources available. And they were, really got them out of that bind of not having an estimator. And
Yeah. How many
we
of
run
us are
into that a lot.
facing that retirement? So you got retirement.
Yeah,
So the loss
right.
of, it's the fancy word is institutional knowledge. The real common thing is what you say around the campfire, like the stories we tell in the company about how we estimate a job like this, or that door
Yes,
profile is going to need this kind of treatment as it goes through, and it's going to take extra
right.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those things is one of the things you deal with is where you've got a change in people, so that's causing
Mm-hmm.
stress.
Yeah.
What about profits? What do you hear from people when they contact you and say, "Hey, profits are, we're doing something wrong"? How does
Yeah,
that?
right. Yeah, clearly. Yeah. So, I mean, that's very common. We're losing a lot of money, or we're not winning many bids, and we're losing money that way. We're not able
Right.
to bid on enough work to keep our shop full and to keep it busy all year long. We have slow times, and we got to let people go, and that's
Yeah.
always super painful. So yeah, that happens a lot. It's a very common problem. And so again, a lot of it is fear based. It's like, maybe the bottleneck is in the estimating. Maybe the owner is still doing the estimating themselves and they just can't keep up.
Right.
Things are falling between the cracks. Just a couple months ago, I spoke with a business owner of a decent sized company. I think they do about $2 million a year. And the business owner is still doing the majority of the estimating. And he was like,
Sure.
Ben, like, I was up till 3:00 in the morning last night.
Their
finishing
personal
up my
time just gets
estimate."
destroyed. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, man, like, that shouldn't be happening. Like, you have so many other things that you could and should be doing for your business. Now, I'm not blaming this individual. Like, he's keeping his company afloat. He's doing what he has to do. But yeah, if we could take a step back and really look and see what can we change, like what can we do different.
Well, and so what are
set things up different.
that's a really good example. You've got a guy who's working as hard as he can.
Mm-hmm.
When you work till 2 a.m, your family suffers,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Somebody suffers. You didn't put your kids to bed. You didn't just spend 10 minutes hanging out with your wife or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you tell us about solutions that people listening right now who are in that same boat?
Yeah.
Where do you start? Where do you start to turn that around?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the place I always start, obviously, if they've reached out to us, there's some awareness that something needs to change.
Yeah.
But sometimes we'll drill down on that a little bit, like realizing the importance of why it needs to change. You don't need to tell that business owner, like, hey, you shouldn't be up till 3 a.m. working on estimates. But
getting
still,
up at
maybe
7.
they don't understand, the importance of scaling their business and growing their business, increasing their profits, how dependent that is on changing their estimating. So that's the first thing, is bringing awareness to, like, the fact that something does need to change.
That this isn't this doesn't have to be your normal life.
Yeah,
Staying
it
up
doesn't have
till
to be this way. Exactly. And then, asking those questions, like, if it doesn't have to be this way, how would you like it to run? How would you like the estimating to work? For a business owner who's doing the estimating themselves, like, maybe that looks like, hey, by a year from today, I want to have a full-time estimator who's doing all the estimating. Maybe I'm still reviewing the projects, but they're doing all the estimates, or 2 estimators. So really kind of setting that goal, right? Establishing that goal and that challenge of, like, here's where I want to be. Because if we don't know where we're going, we're kind of just meandering, right?
Yeah.
And then it's really, like, I would say the next step after that is really just analyzing and documenting what you're doing currently. So if you are the business owner and you're doing all the estimates, start documenting what you are doing. And like I said at the beginning, obviously you're doing a lot right.
Yeah.
And so it's not that, like, you got to throw everything out and start over, but just start documenting what you're doing. And whether that is pencil and paper, like sketching out block diagrams of your process. And I mean, from start to finish, like from the moment you get a bid invite in, what do you do with it?
Right.
All the way through until the project is delivered, completed, and you've done your postmortem, and then you're feeding that information back to the estimator. Like, follow that estimate all the way through. And whether a lot of that's up in your head, or you do have a system in the computer, or you are using a robust estimating system, is really just, documenting it and analyzing where you're at is a huge step. And that step in itself is eye-opening a lot of times.
We call them, I'm going to use business coach language, business operations flowchart. Just how do things flow through the business? Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. Once we put it on paper, we can see it. And once we can see it, we can manage it. But when it's, this is something I wonder, Ben, if you hear this from people, I don't know how to get everything out of my head and on paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
We've got a millwork company that we work with here, and they're large, to understate it. They are large.
Okay.
The owner can walk in, look at a set of plans and say, that's going to cost this much. And because he's just been doing it forever, the company is his name, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody else can't replicate that system. They look at it and they're like, okay, we got to pull it apart and do this and that. Mm-hmm. But he just knows by his gut and by the relationship, this job's going to sell for this to that. Mm-hmm. So, how do we get past that?
Yeah. Well, it's, like I said, so lay out those. So obviously they're going through some sort of process in their mind into it, whether it's intuitive or not. What are they looking for? Are they gauging by the number of sheets, the number of pages in a set of plans, the market value, the contractor, the owner, and really just laying all that stuff out as much as possible. And then look into, once you've kind of got it laid out, you can see it clearly. Like, these are the steps that they're taking to come up with their pricing. And then looking to bring some stability to the process. So a lot of times that looks like an estimating software, or even a really good, robust spreadsheet. Getting some sort of consistency and stability to the process. You got to have some sort of database to be plugging those numbers into, right, as you get them out of your head.
Yeah.
And that's important. And seriously, it can be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, that's what we use for our estimates for our customers.
Hey, lots of people get up to a couple $1 million on Excel, building an Excel kingdom or a Google Sheets kingdom. So there's an old story, a parable. You might have even heard this one at church. There's a story about 3 bricklayers. I'm going to take a stab at it. At the end of the day of working hard, they all go home for dinner. And out of pure coincidence, each of their kids asked them at the kitchen table, "Daddy, what do you do all day?" Well, the first dad said, "Son, I lay bricks." And the second dad said, "Well, I'm building a wall." Well, the third dad smiled to his kids and he said, "Kids, at work, I'm building a cathedral." You see, they're all doing the same work, but they have 3 different visions to tell their children. That's leadership. Right now, your foreman might just be laying bricks, focused only on tasks. You see, Foreman 101 training helps them see the bigger picture and your crew to lead to it. I'll explain everything on our free information call, but remember, the owner and the foreman have to attend together. Now, first step is to get on the wait list for the next free info session. Just text me at 206-208-7581 and say Foreman Training, and we'll get you on the list. One of the things, we're real big believers in repeatable process, as you'd imagine. Yeah. And so we have found, and I'm going to ask you to counter, let's have a debate about this, but if garbage in, garbage out is a real thing, if we're taking bad or the wrong deals at the top of the estimating process, we're just going to start doing bad work. So we use something called a bid yes, no checklist. Yeah. And it's a simple system that I can give to my estimator to give them the power, empowering them to say, look, here's how to score an incoming bid to see whether we should chase it or not. Because not all bid packages are the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, and that's huge. The decision is a big part of it too. That should be included in your process, is how you decide whether or not to bid on a project to begin with.
A beagle can only chase one bunny at a time. So choose your bunnies wisely, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of really drilling down on the type of projects you want to bid on and not wasting your time. I mean, there's exceptions. There's times you got to bid on a certain project to keep the relationship, but for the most part, you really should know up front what type of projects are a good fit for your company.
Yeah, they're profitable, they're lined up, right? It lines up with your tooling, your people, and your profitability. It's almost like you're aiming a gun down the range. It has to line up with what you're good at. And if it doesn't, you get to say no. You don't have to bid on everything unless, and I think you said this, unless you're building the ski chalet for the biggest builder who gives you all your other business, you're like, oh, we got to do this deal. Right. Yeah.
Right. Where they call and they need, a price for this one break room with 5 cabinets, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah. You're like, okay, we're doing it for this guy, but not, We're not building
having
vanities.
a good, yes, go or no go on a project, and being able to do that quickly. You got to do that up front quickly, so that you're not wasting time on a project.
Yeah.
If it's not a good fit, don't waste any time on it.
How many times have people? Sorry, Ben.
Go ahead. No,
so how many times have people gotten on the phone with you or on Zoom these days and said, Ben, we estimate by linear foot, or as I sometimes hear, linear inch, which is fine. Those systems work because they wouldn't be listening to this show now unless they thought about the business of the woodworking business. But we hear that a lot. Dom, we estimate by linear foot. Is there a better way? And I'll ask you, is there a better way?
Definitely, there is a better way. But
you interrupted the angels singing from the heavens as they opened. There's a better way than estimating by linear foot.
Yeah.
I
think we have to look at what is the appeal of estimating by linear feet? It's efficient, right? It is. It's efficient. I mean, I think anybody that is estimating by linear feet, they know it's probably not the most accurate, but going back to the beginning of it's what they've done.
And what's more accurate than that? What could be it seems like it would be a very formulaic, reliable way to do things, right?
I think when it comes to cabinets especially is counting each cabinet and cabinet type. We do want to account for each cabinet type. And so that way we're covered for our materials for the cabinet and our labor as well. I mean, obviously if you have a 10 linear feet of 12-inch wide 4-drawer base cabinets, that's going to take a lot more time than 10 linear feet, the same length of, 3 or 4 2-door base cabinets. So there's going to be some disparity there. So it is important that you have some sort of system, in my opinion, that you can estimate down to the detail of the cabinet type.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to do so efficiently. And so, and that's where the software comes in. We've got great technology these days. There's great software out there that's specifically for millwork. And we use in-house, we use Bluebeam Review and Excel. And Bluebeam is amazing at keeping track of your sheets and your drawings and updating revisions and that kind of thing. And then also we do full takeoff in Bluebeam. And that way it's all visual. So you can see everything,
right?
You can see what you've included. And we do takeoffs by cabinet type. So if there's a 2-door base cabinet, we've got that accounted for. If it has a finished end, we've got that accounted for. And that way you can get a lot more accurate with your pricing. You can be dead on with your materials and with your labor.
And profitability. Where to add profitability, and then if you have to go back and sharpen the pencil, as the builder often asks, where to do it, not just what does your tummy say today. Yeah,
exactly. And that's, when we do need to sharpen our pencil and really get competitive, it's important that we know where that line is. We know where that line of profitability is.
I'm so glad you said that, because there does come a point when we say, no, thank you, this isn't the deal for us.
Yeah, exactly. And you can only do that when you know where that line is.
You have
so the
to
only
know
way
the
of knowing
number.
where that line is, our estimates are built on two things, two building blocks, right? It's the materials, so the wood, the plastic laminate, whatever the materials are that we're going to build stuff out of, and then our labor. And those really are our costs. And then, of course, our overhead for our shop and all that.
Profit, little things like that.
Yeah. And then we have our break-even line. And then on top of that, we have our profit. And so if we know exactly where that line is, then going back to the beginning of bidding with confidence, we can bid with confidence because we know where that line is. And we know that even if we've had to cut it to get more competitive, we know that we'll still make a profit on it. And we also know when to walk away, like you said.
It's just as important to know when to walk away. How many times, everybody listening to this show is senior. We've been in the business for a while. How many times have we taken a deal we knew was bad, and then we lived with it for the 3-month build while it's in our system, and we just knew, we're like, and the craziest things happen. We just start getting mad at pieces of wood as they're going through the edge bander. You're like, I hate this one. I hate this wood. These kicks are bugging me. It's just a piece of wood, but there's emotion attached to it suddenly because we know we priced it wrong and now we've got to eat it.
Right.
But we did it for all the right reasons. Right. I want to keep my guys busy so I don't lose my guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
for sure.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned two things so far that we're real big believers in here. First is the bid yes no calculator.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a way to make sure, would you call it go or no go?
Yeah.
And then the other one is make sure you're hitting your hourly rate. which is loaded with overheads and profit and labor and burdened labor. And for that one, we use something called the go back report. But either way, all of those certainty tools, that's not what I think. That's what we have seen gets people home earlier with more confidence on bidding the jobs and going after the jobs they want.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it goes, not only gets you home earlier, but eliminates stress. I mean, we know how stressful it can be, like estimating. I mean, throughout the whole project, but especially estimating, like it can be chaos and stressful, especially on bid day, right? And but it doesn't have to be that way. And that's one of the things we've done with our company is really worked to eliminate that stress. What could we do to eliminate the stress? What causes the stress? What are those pain points? And let's work through them and resolve them. I have a consultant that I work with, and he's helping me like audit our processes. We've been working together for months now. And it's like such an eye-opening thing, right? To have another set of eyes. And then, I mean, this guy's got so much wisdom. Like he's been over to Japan and studied Toyota, and he's been in the lean industry for like over 40 years. And so to have that set of eyes and his wisdom looking at stuff, and he's always stressing to me, like, we've got to make things visual. That's what's so hard about estimating, I think, is it's not by nature visual.
Right.
You know, if you think about building a cabinet, I think it's a little easier to hand that off to someone else, because in the end, it's visual. Like if they were way off on their dimensions, it's going to be a little easier to catch. Like if it comes out as a 1 foot wide cabinet rather than a 3 foot, you're going to catch it fairly easily.
You would hope. How many times have your client, and this has happened, or I've heard this happen, we just built an entire kitchen out of white melamine because somebody didn't read the entire label, and we were supposed to build it out of white oak. Why did that not get caught?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But and so I think that's where a lot of the fear of handing off the estimating comes from, is we can't see it as well. I mean, you could so easily with one digit be off by $1,000. Can
you imagine?
$10,000.
Yeah, spec'd for 42 inches and you built it to 40, and now you're out hundreds of thousands. Or tens.
And so we've got to build visibility into our systems. That's really crucial, is that we have a way of bringing that visibility. So it's really clear, number one, where we're at in the process, and number two, to make sure that everything got checked. We're really big on using checklists. So we use checklists a lot. I mean, it's really crazy how much a simple checklist can change everything. I don't know if you've heard the book, The Checklist Manifesto.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's a doctor, an emergency room surgeon.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about the complexity of his job, right? He may go in one room and he's got a patient, he has to do a certain type of surgery. Go in the next room and he's doing completely different surgery. And the level of complexity is crazy. And so he was tasked by the World Health Organization to try and improve, or to try and reduce the, infection rate and different things that, happen from surgeries throughout the world. And so basically it all boiled down to, they established this 19-point checklist that any surgeon anywhere in the world can go through with their staff right before they're about to do surgery. These 19 talking points, it causes them to communicate with each other. And they reduced the infection rate and the death rate by like ridiculous percentages. Just because they fall.
Yeah. It's the same with pilots. They say that the pilots that get in the most trouble are the old pilots, not the new ones, because the new ones follow the checklist.
Yeah.
The older ones who've been at it a while, they skip steps in the checklist, and this is where accidents happen. But even a pilot, a super highly trained person, goes through a checklist.
Yeah. Right.
And it's hard. Just in one of our coaching meeting reviews yesterday, we were talking about an owner who's getting resistance from one of his team because the team guy said, why am I going to do a checklist if nobody looks at it? It's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Right. So we got a culture problem there. First of all, we got a little bit of friction, but I kind of get the guy's point. Why am I doing a checklist if nobody's going to review it? But the checklist isn't for everybody else's review. It's for my internal review. On that point, you just reminded me of a story. So I went and toured Fast Cap, Paul Akers' facility up in the Pacific Northwest. It was great. They're all lean manufacturing there, but one of the very simple steps they have, super simple, is that when you're building something at one of their workstations, you have to say the step out loud.
Oh, wow.
Now we put the lid on this. And so they have this visual cue reminder that they're doing this thing, not just doing it blindly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the feedback loop that they're following through.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I can understand like the pain with checklists, right? And I'm guilty of this myself, right? When I first kind of started to realize I need a checklist. And so I created this estimating checklist.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was probably like 60 checks.
Oh, yeah, it's painful. Yeah.
Estimators weren't using it. I wasn't using it. I wasn't telling anybody, but I wasn't using it myself. And it caused me to think like, okay, wait, something wrong here. There's probably a culture problem, like you mentioned. But then it's also like the nature of the checklist. Like we have to get it to a place where it is intuitive and it does work and it actually assists in the process. It makes their job easier. And so that does take some work. Like not all checklists are equal.
But I'm okay if it's 60, Ben. I'm okay if it's 60 as long as you do what you did and said that's too long. How do we get it down to 20?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's probably indicator or flags that go off to say if we've hit this checklist point, then we can get rid of the 13 before it. Because you're just not going to get to that point properly.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we try and build visibility into every step of our process and make sure that it's intuitive, that the instruction and that the check is right there at the work where we need it, when we need it.
Yeah.
Just like the checklist. So we have multiple checklists. I have one personally that I use anytime I'm reviewing a project that another estimator did. There's like 10 points on it. And myself, even with all my years of experience, like, thank God for the checklist, right? I've caught so many things because I went and checked for window stools, like one of those things that's really easy to miss.
Yeah.
And so thankfully I had the checklist and I followed it. And then I was able to catch that, so it does take discipline and it does take a cultural mindset a lot of times.
Yeah.
But it is important that we, kind of along those lines, that we make sure that it is adaptable.
Yeah.
That it is flexible. We're not creating SOP manuals that are 300 pages long and sit on the shelf and collect costs.
That is so frustrating. And I think it's frustrating for our team as well.
Yeah. Right.
Taking them through an SOP that nobody's ever going to look at again.
Yeah.
But I have to say, at the same time, creating that SOP, even though it's long and cumbersome, is fine as long as you go fix it. So every system should be written in stone. It's just written in sandstone. We can always rough it out and make it better and make it better.
Yeah.
Right. Because you have to start somewhere.
For sure. Yeah. And that's, even that, going back to the checklist, that first 60-point checklist, it was one step along the way, and it caused me to think and it caused me to look at the process in a way that I hadn't before.
Yeah.
And it's all one step along the way. And it is important that we recognize that this isn't a one and done thing, that it really is a cultural shift. We need to all have the mindset of continuous improvement, whether it's in the shop or in our estimating, and recognize that like we're going to be improving these processes for as long as we're in business. That's part of it. And so really building that culture into it.
How often should I be, I'm going to change gears just a little bit, but how often should I be going back to look at jobs we did to see whether it worked, whether we were profitable, whether it was the right job? Internally, we call that the end of job report.
Yeah.
Right. Some people call them postmortems.
Yeah. Right. Ideally, you should do it every project. You really should have a system in place where that information is being fed back to the estimating department every single project. It's really crucial. That information is gold, right? Because when you first set up, whether you have a new estimating software or whatever you're using, like you're at the beginning of the journey, right? You haven't made that project yet. So you're really at the point of least knowledge of what's going to happen during that project. You're taking your best guess. Now, it's more than just guessing. There is science to it, but like you're taking your best guess. So you need that feedback. It's really, really crucial. That's how we grow. That's how we improve. And that's how we refine our estimating numbers, which in the end is going to make us more profitable and it's going to win us more projects.
And you get to go home and go to bed at a decent hour.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been guilty of this myself. We win a job and I think, what did we miss? Right.
Yeah, right.
But if I have estimating systems in place and then we use end of job reports to go make sure that things are right, I'd have to add doing the end of job report is step one. But then having a conversation with the estimator, the purchaser, if you've got one, the project manager, the foreman, and the installer, if you can, and say, hey, how did that job go? How did the Rubino job go? When everybody's in the room, they hear it. They're like, oh, you know what? We missed the would you say, a window ledge or a window stool?
Yeah, window stool.
Yeah. Well, now the estimator on the next job goes, I got to remember to look for those again.
Yeah.
Right. Because we just got bruised and stung on one of them. And then the project manager's like, I should have caught that as well, because we could have got it as a change order if this had happened and that had happened. And the company gets smarter.
Yeah,
but it's not just on the owner's back anymore. It's you're spreading the work.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Well, and I think, that growth, it's so crucial to our growth, right? Is getting that information, having a humble attitude about it. I don't like to always immediately assume that our estimate was wrong. Like, let's say they come back and they're like, hey, we didn't win any profit on this project. It's all your fault. I don't like to immediately assume that it is only a bad estimate. Right. But I don't rule that out immediately either. Like, I like to have a healthy humility about it. And like, yeah, maybe there is things we could have improved with this estimate.
Yeah.
Maybe there's problems down the line that we need to look at as well. Like, why didn't you meet the labor hours that we had in there? Was there issues? Was there inefficiencies? Do we need to refine our numbers? Do we need to raise our pricing on wall paneling or base cabinets or whatever it is? Yeah. Having a healthy humility about it. I think one of the things that's awesome about having systems in place is at that point, it doesn't become a blame game. Like, we're not looking at who did the estimate? Why did you miss it? It's all your fault. Instead, like, we're looking at the system. Like, where did the system fail us? Window stools, for example. Why did we miss them? Is there no place in our system to specifically go check for them?
It could be the simplest thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's literally one of the items on our checklist is, did you check for window stools? Because we had that happen. Like, it's just one of those things that's easy to miss. And so we came back and we added that to our system. So it's not about blaming the individual or even throwing training. Like, you just need more training. You don't have the experience. Like, sometimes that's the case, but like in the case of the surgeon in the ER room, like, one of the things that the World Health Organization, somebody threw out was like, we need more training. Like, our surgeons need more training. And he was like, these are some of the most trained people in the world. Like, how many years of schooling do they have to go through to be a surgeon? Oftentimes it's not about more training. It's just about having systems in place. And so that's what's so cool about having systems in place, is that we can take away that emotion, right? That defensiveness of like, it's not my fault. Like, this came up and this happened. We can all kind of point to the systems and say, where did the system fail us?
So you and I are systems guys. How much of an X factor does culture play on this?
Oh yeah. I mean, culture is huge. Culture is really huge. Like I said, I mean, I think one of the biggest areas of culture, one of the things I look for in the estimators that I bring onto our team, is having a mentality of continuous improvement, like not being satisfied with where they're at. Like, I love curious people, right, who are always trying to improve things. Sometimes you got to rein each other in a little bit. Like, is that really necessary? But I like that kind of culture. And having that healthy culture of like, we don't blame. Like,
I was just going to say the no blame culture.
That's really huge.
There's a great book on that. I mean, we talk about this when we do our foreman training. There's two ways of seeing the world. You're either above the line or below the line, winners or whiners. I'll just say the nice word. And anybody wants to read up on it, read the Oz Principle. It's a great book, right? But it's just about how people see the world. Is the world doing things to you, or are you an active participant in the world? But when we've got a blame culture, we're going to blame the estimator, or we're going to blame the installer. But that doesn't get our business ahead at all.
Right.
Right?
It doesn't.
That little soft bit of training about culture plays such a big, important role, because you can have all the systems in place. You can have the best numbers in place. But if nobody cares, and if everybody's just trying to cover their butt, you've got a blame culture. And you're really going to find every single day you're pushing a lead ball up a hill that just the ball keeps getting heavier and the hill keeps getting steeper. And something has to change. And the glue that holds it all together is actually the culture in your company.
Yeah, seriously. And it's definitely something that can be learned. I mean, I'm not by nature
100%.
a systems guy. Like, I'm more of an artist, craftsman. Like, I like to just create and wing things and just do it by my gut and by my experience. Like, by nature, that's what I like to do. I mean, ask my wife. Like, I hardly know how to make a checklist for groceries.
Or follow it.
Yeah.
My wife does the same. You bought what? We didn't need that. I'm like, I thought we needed it. It looked nice. I bought it.
Yeah. And so I've had to learn. Like, I've had to learn the importance and learn that that's the only way that I'm going to make it in this business and grow this company and scale this company is by establishing systems and processes and sticking to them, following through with them. Because as my consultant that I work with always says, like every time we buck the system, our trust and our confidence in the system erodes a little bit. And so it's really important that we create the systems, follow them, and then constantly refine them, right?
And test them. Yeah.
Yeah, and test them out.
Hey, if you guys know me, you know I love Sun Tzu and the book he wrote called The Art of War. Now, you also know that my old business partner is Brian Tracy, and he's a famous business author and strategist. Brian Tracy once said, leaders think and talk about solutions. Followers think and talk about problems. Well, let me ask you, which one is your foreman doing today? And then we've got Sun Tzu, the great military general, and he said, in the midst of chaos, there's also opportunity. If your shop feels like chaos, the opportunity is to train your foreman to lead. That's what Foreman 101 is all about. Join me for a free info call. You, as the owner, and your foreman have to attend together. I'll explain more on the call. But first, get on the wait list for the next free information session. Just text me at 206-208-7581 and say foreman training in your text message, and then we'll put you on the list. Ben, have you got a good news story? Tell us a story about that $2 million contract. Don't use names, of course, that came to you and said, these are the problems. Oh my God, I can't stay up till 2 a.m. and wake up at 5 again. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then they put systems in place and they started to take a more, I'm going to say it, a more CEO-like approach to running this like a real business. And tell us what that looks like now for them.
Yeah, for sure. So, a company we've worked with quite a bit over the last few years in the southern states of the U.S. They've got a great company. When they came to me, when they reached out, they were doing about $800,000 worth of work each year. So, on the smaller end. It was kind of one of those like started it in our garage and then now moved to a shop.
So many do. Yeah. They just started doing headboards and now, they sort of evolve.
Yeah, right. And so by the time they reached out, they were like, the business owner, like, I'm doing all the estimating. I can't keep up.
Right.
What do we do? And so, they had about a 5% hit rate. So they were only winning, if they bid on 100 projects, they were only winning 5 of them.
Oh, that's
tough. This was not the person that said that they were up till 3 a.m. the night before, but it was kind of running that way, right? Like doing everything. And so what they ended up doing was they brought someone from the shop who had no experience estimating, had a little bit of experience in the shop, but came in and we worked with them. We did some training. We helped them get their systems and processes in place. We established a baseline for doing their estimates. We got all that information out of the owner's head and got it into an Excel spreadsheet and set up a system with them. We didn't set it up for them. We set it up with them, working very closely with them so that we had buy-in, right? So their estimator was part of the process.
Right.
And then also they have a deep understanding of the process. And so, by the time last I checked, so they were on track. Their hit rate had gone up to over 15%. So, from 5% to 15% hit rate. And they're on track to win over $2 million worth of work this year alone. So that's like over a 250% increase from the 800,000 when they first reached out until now.
That makes me happy.
Yeah. And then more importantly, the business owner is able to focus on growing other areas of their business and got his life back. He's able to spend time with his family.
Really? Yeah.
Take vacations. And that's the most incredible thing for me to see is kind of that transformation of the mentality of the business owner. Seeing that transformation is really awesome and crucial to the growth of a business. Like
it
you
is
said, operating more as a CEO than someone who's in the business, and for sure.
Yeah. I wonder if it makes.
I had to go through that process myself. Like I said, by nature, I'm more of like an artist and a doer and get my hands dirty and do things. It's interesting because it's one of the areas that I really struggled with over the past years of starting this business and growing this business was that mentality that like, I'm no longer just an estimator or a grunt worker. Not that an estimator is a grunt worker, but that's what I felt like. I'm an estimator, I'm a grunt worker.
I'm a cog in the wheel.
Yeah, cog in the wheel.
And I want to be, I should have more to contribute.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I was kind of hitting that roadblock consistently of like, I was burning out. I was doing everything myself.
Right.
And so I'm a Christian and I pray a lot. I know you probably have people of all faiths, and I completely honor that and respect that. Personally, like, I was praying about my business, which I do every Monday morning, take an hour. And I was bringing this specific aspect of like, what needs to change in my mind? Like, where's my mindset need to change?
Very wise.
Yeah. And so it was really cool. I saw this image in my heart and in my imagination of a ditch on a construction site, and down in the gravel, something needed to happen. I don't know what it was. My gut instinct was grab a shovel, jump in the ditch, and just start digging. And then it was kind of like the image stopped, rewind. I'm like, okay, let's try that again. What should you do in this case? And in this time, I felt myself like pick up some shovels and strategically hand them out to those that were around me and give them strategic direction on what to do. And guess what? The job got done way faster. And I was like, wow, like, my go-to is just jump in and do it myself, grit my teeth and grunt through it. Whereas right now, my mindset needs to be more of equipping and empowering others to do the job well. And strategically, like, the job will get done better.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing it myself, it'll get done faster and we can do a lot more work. So I have a sticker on my computer to remind me, strategically hand out shovels.
I've got a story similar to that, and I heard it back from a client. Okay. Which to me is always the most impactful. And he goes, this is just in the middle of a coaching meeting. He goes, Dom, I think I finally realized. And he started as that guy building cabinets. I think first cabinets he built were for his aunt or something. All right.
Okay.
He goes, Dom, I think I finally realized my people are my tools.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's not about him being the greatest cabinet maker or millworker or knowing how the machines work down to the nth degree anymore. Mm-hmm. My people are my tools. And this is with all the respect in the world, but you've got to give that up and say, my CNC person is great. The lady in our finishing department is fantastic. She's the tool to help us finish really, really well. So my job as the leader is to make sure she's got what she needs to do that. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. He was really fired up, and it's always greatest when it's the client's idea.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I love it.
No, that's really powerful. And it is. And when we can see the potential in everyone that's on our team, and we can pour into that, right? We can cultivate that potential. It's awesome to be around people who are, I love to be around people who are better than me at something. And like, I can learn.
That's how you get better.
We all grow. Yeah, we all get better. And that's awesome.
That's why we got you on the podcast, because think about it. 20 years ago, coming to see you, we may maybe be able to see you at a conference once a year. And now this is a podcast people can re-listen to, share with their estimator, share with their business partner, and move just a tiny step forward.
Yeah.
Ben, let me ask you, if somebody wants to find you in this big, wide world, how the heck do we find you?
Yeah, so easy. You can either go to the website, bhestimating.com. So B is in boy, H is in hotel, estimating.com. Or reach out to me on LinkedIn, Ben Hudachek. Either way is a great place to find me. And reach out. Let me know. I'd love to have a conversation. I'd love to have a 30-minute or an hour phone call with you and just hear about what's going on with your business, good and bad. I love to hear it all and just have a conversation about what's going on and see if there's any way that we can help. Or at least we've all walked away with a great conversation about the millwork industry, which is a great industry.
Yeah.
So,
Well, another thing, folks, if you have other topic suggestions, like I already do for Ben, you're on iTunes or listening wherever, leave it in the comments and then we'll run it. Ben and I'll go over those in the future and see if maybe we have you back in 6 months. I've got ideas in my mind, but I'd love to hear what the audience thinks as well, about how to have you, answer another question in this estimating world, because there's so many.
There is.
It's like fixing a transmission. You open it up, you're like, I don't know where to start, but something's going to be fixed. And then you get in there and you realize, oh, okay, this goes with that. And it becomes predictable, but not until you slow down and look at it in systems fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Ben, thanks so much.
Yeah. Well, Dom, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure to be on your show. And I love having the opportunity to speak to your audience and share what I've learned over the years. And hopefully, y'all can take something and learn and grow your company because of what we've talked about. And it's been great to chat, Tom. I really appreciate you having me on. And
thanks, Ben.
Having this opportunity.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well. Mr. Ben Hudachek, thank you very much for being a guest on the show. I really, really appreciate it. Some fantastic wisdom that you shared here on estimating and estimating SOPs and how to do the bid yes, no checklist and making sure that you're profitable on every job. All those things that make sure that the numbers are neat and tidy and in order so that as business owners, we're actually making money. Crazy to think that, right? Folks, I hope you got a lot of value out of this episode. By the way, if you want any of those tools that Ben and I talked about, or if you want to contact Ben, he talked about how to get in touch with him there. If you want any of the tools from me, go ahead and just send me a text message. Super simple way to do things. My cell phone number is 206-208-7581. Just ask for any of the reports and boom, boom, we'll send them off to you. In the meantime, this is just an excuse for a chance for you and I one day to hopefully meet together instead of just meeting here on the YouTube channel. What would we be doing when we met? Let's see. Maybe you and I are grabbing a cup of coffee, waiting for the guide to show up to take us fishing for invasives in Florida. I've never done that before. That would be cool. But look, until then, we'll see you on the next episode, and maybe that chance will come when it comes. Have a great day, folks. Go run a great business. We'll talk to you soon.